I'm sick, but let's talk about how to become an interior designer without necessarily needing a degree. And in today's video, we're going to use a real life example of one of my followers who came into my DMs asking a very specific question about pricing. She is a new designer, and up until recently, she was doing only virtual design direction. She wasn't doing any full scope design. And recently, she had an opportunity to do more hands-on, in-person interior design for a project where she's going to be going on site. She's going to be shopping for furniture, direction boards, a whole lot more happening. She was stressing about how she should be pricing, and I asked her, I said, well, what's changed? How were you pricing before? She said she had a project fee. Now, I haven't finished this conversation with her, but I want to use this as an opportunity for you to think about the differences in how you have to consider your pricing. Because when she said she had a project fee, I said, okay, how many hours did your virtual design packages take you? From any client communication, any documentation you had to do, any research, how many hours? So if you had X amount of hours and you were charging X price, you divide that to know what your hourly rate was. And in theory, if you're comfortable with that number and you see that it makes sense and it wasn't a mistake, then you can use that same hourly rate in person. It doesn't need to be different just because the location you will be in will be different. At the end of the day, if you are doing any kind of hourly or package rates, you have some sort of hourly value that you are allocating to yourself. And one of the reasons this is such a good exercise to consider is because most people are doing package rates at a price that they think that the client can swallow. And they're not really considering how many actual hours are being spent from themselves, any outsourcing they're paying for. And when you're considering your hourly rate, you have to be able to then multiply that to how much you're going to make per year and how much your expenses are going to be and deduct that, and then see at that end number, is that still enough money, right? If you have an hourly rate of $1 and then you see you're making $100 a year and you think, wow, that's great, I'm killing it. And then you go in and you calculate, well, actually, I have 75 cents of expenses, so I'm only making a quarter at the end of the year. And expenses can include taxes. So you have to be sure you're good with that end number. But at bare minimum, the first step is, how many hours are you really spending on a project? How much did you charge for that package rate? What does that leave you with at an hourly rate? And consider your expenses.